and then
Like
we can
sleep.
actually maneuver the heart, open the heart. That's how
Oh
we
my
fix the
gosh.
valves. That's how we do all of that. And then we maneuver the heart. So you're actually handling the heart when you're doing all those things. But no, we don't remove it like
Yeah, yeah. But you're kind
this.
of adjusting in the
Absolutely.
chest
Absolutely.
cavity.
Sure. Yeah.
What is that like holding the heart of a human being?
You know, I look at what I do as an honor and a privilege, honestly. And it starts well before I ever get into the operating room. And that's the relationships that I develop with my patients. And that is just one component of it for me. For the patients, it's like, you've had my heart in your hand.
Wow.
I get that comment a lot. I think it's, and I don't want to deprioritize or belittle the comment that they're making, but when you're doing something every day,
Yeah, it's
it becomes part of the routine. But again, to develop a relationship that there's enough trust that I'm given that opportunity to do that, that's what's meaningful for
yeah,
me.
yeah. Now this may be a very sensitive topic. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I'm assuming you've been a surgeon for 25 years. There's been people that haven't made it from
Sure.
surgery, right?
Sure.
Have you ever talked about that stuff of what that is like when you're invested in a person and you know how high risk it is? Like they may not make it either way, and you've got to go in and operate, and then they don't come out of that alive. How does that impact you either emotionally, mentally, confidence wise? Just kind of how do you deal with that in general? I know a lot of doctors have to face this, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Brain surgeons, heart surgeons, this happens, unfortunately.
sure.
Obviously, you hope it doesn't happen that often, but what has that been like for you?
So for elective operations, lowest risk operations, the risk of patients dying is 2%, 1 to 2%, which sounds like a small number until you put it in the perspective of 6,000 patients, right?
Right.
And so if you ask me what the single most difficult part of what I do is, it's patients dying.
Wow.
And that's no easier today than it was when I started 25 years ago. It is absolutely no easier. And, you mentioned the patients that are really high risk and aren't going to make it. Honestly, from a mindset standpoint, if it's a real Hail Mary operation, the expectations with that patient and the family are very low.
Lower. Oh man.
But for elective operations, when someone walks into the hospital
Oh my
and
gosh.
they're a mother, a husband, and they fall in that 1 to 2%,
Oh my gosh.
it is really, really, really difficult and remains so to this day. And I still wake up in the middle of the night thinking about some of those losses
Ah,
over the years. But in the end, when and if that were to ever go away, I would quit what I do.
what do you mean?
Because if that sense of attachment and the importance
Uh,
of that event occurring and the way it impacts me personally was never,
yeah.
then I don't think I should be doing
Yeah.
what I'm
If
doing.
it didn't
Because
bother you or affect you, yeah.
exactly,
Wow.
exactly. And you do, as you mentioned, have to compartmentalize, because you can't take that home, and you got to get up the next day and you got to come back.
You can't do it at heart surgery the next day and thinking about that.
Right.
I mean, obviously you're thinking about it, wanting to do the best job you can and making sure
Absolutely.
you're taking the right actions, but you can't, I hope this doesn't happen again. You
You
can't be,
cannot go into the operating room with that mindset, and you have to compartmentalize.
how did anyone teach you? I don't know if they teach you this in med school, but did anyone teach you how to navigate when you lose a patient? Like how to process that emotionally? Or is it more you have to just compartmentalize, do the job, and almost like not stuff it, but stuff the emotions so you can show up your best self the next day?
So the first part of your question, can you teach that? No. And it doesn't really happen until you're technically out of training entirely.
Yeah.
and the responsibility is 110% on your shoulders.
So you're like 10 years in as a doctor, training, student, you're like, you've done so many reps.
But you're not
Yeah.
truly the responsible. The buck doesn't stop with you.
Yes.
And until you get into that situation, it's very difficult. It's like trying to instill ownership into someone as an employee, right? Like you can't really do that until they're there and they're part of your business and what have you. And they either have that or they don't. Same thing as a physician, as a surgeon, until you show up and all of that responsibility is on you, you don't have that emotional attachment. Even though you see it and are part of it in training.
Because you've seen other doctors lose
Absolutely.
patients that you were helping or guiding.
Absolutely. And you're still, of course, I mean, you feel badly in those situations, not that
Yes.
you're non-emotional.
But you're not the one in there doing the job.
You don't have to go out and look
Oh,
the family in the eye and have that conversation.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. It's not easy. And it's never gotten any easier.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's never gotten any easier. It is not. It is not the fun part of my job. It is not.
Has there ever been a patient that has come in on the operating table that you were said, this is the biggest long shot of success? Like there's a 1% chance this will work or something like that. And they have somehow recovered and lived a longer life because of that operation?
Absolutely. I
Really?
mean, yeah, absolutely. I think most cardiac surgeons would identify with that too.
Just like miracles.
Yeah, I mean, look, we never walk in the operating room alone. I mean,
Wow.
that's the bottom line. We're just people operating on people. And there's certainly, we always do the best we can, but the end is not up to us. That's the ultimate outcome is not up to us, but we certainly have taken patients, particularly younger patients that come in with really grave problems. We're going to give them an opportunity, even if it's a very low percentage, because why wouldn't we?
Of course.
If somebody's lived a long life and they're in their 90s and they have
That's
multiple
different.
medical problems, they come in with that same problem, it's a different conversation with the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Wow.
But absolutely, that does occur.
Do you have a ritual before you go into surgery? And do you have a relationship with God where you bring God to the room with you?
So I go through very much a process. It doesn't necessarily happen right before the operation, but days leading up potentially. And much like military or sports, where I visualize the operation that I'm going to do. I then identify the 3 or 4 worst possible scenarios that I can get into.
Wow.
And how I'm going to get out of it.
That's smart.
Because, we never rise to the occasion. We always fall to our level of training. I
Yes.
mean, that's just human nature.
Military 101. you know?
Exactly. I mean, I like to occasionally believe that we do rise to an occasion,
Yeah,
but
man.
that's under duress. You can't count on that.
No.
And so
Unless you've trained for it, you're going to
Exactly.
fall to the level of your training.
every time.
Yeah.
And so that's absolutely what I do. And then I always bring it back the morning of, when I see patients before surgery, to the patients that we're actually going to be operating on that day. Because I tell patients in the pre-op conversation that I can't guarantee them that we're not going to have bumps in the road.
Mm.
But what I can guarantee them is they're going to have 110% of my attention at all times, and I'm going to care for them like they're my own family.
Wow.
And that I truly mean.
That's great.
And I think that that's how I express to them that I'm truly going to be a part of this and fully engaged.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.